But we know it's a complex phenomenon. It also presents 4 or 5 theorists who present their version of socialization and the different angles that we can approach this whole topic of socialization from. Starts off with Sigmund Freud, goes on to other folks, whether it be Herbert Spencer or John Patrick, Carol Giddens, etc. I want to tell words more about it. I want to tell words more about Sigmund Freud. I feel fairly certain that most of you have had psychology somewhere along the way. Maybe in high school, maybe a portion of PC or some other institution. But I want to go back and tell you a little about Sigmund Freud because of the importance of his theoretical perspective on socialization. You know, he starts off by talking in any text, in any book. You don't get far before Freud is being beginning to talk about his framework for involvement of personality. And we know that he has presented to us good foundational statements about the ego, the superego. Last session, I believe we made reference to the fact that there are 2 competing dynamics between the id, if you will, and the ego. I'm sorry, the superego. But I believe last session, the author presents to us that it is, if you will, the ego that seems to have the task of helping us to make some sense out of our decisions about what to do not do, how we gotta act, how we not act. What kind of a personality do we want to reflect or not reflect? And everyone in here, at some point in your life, you've had a struggle. I didn't say a big struggle, but you've had a struggle. And you know that you have learned what's right, not right. You know what you want to do. And not always what you want to do is what you end up doing, or what you should do. So you struggle. I really want to go with there's some folks won't be too happy about it. To someplace, or read something, or war something. You have second thoughts. Second thoughts sometimes drive us kind of crazy because we go backwards and forth, backwards and forth. Clean that food this way, other things that we should do. Oh, you want to do. It's what you want to do. And somehow or another, what often moves out is this thing that Sigmund Freud calls the ego. Because if you look at how he frames this term ego, this concept that's called the ego, we know that it's a way of striking a balance. The thing about that balance is that it doesn't always help us to do what we want to do. Sometimes it has us to do what we deep down feel we should. And that's everything about what to wear, whether you get your hair this way or that way, whether you go with your friends over here or over there. We don't want to sing with them, there are issues with one of them or whatever. So these opposing forces that are within us, struggling, putting us one way or the other, would have us to make a call to Sigmund Freud. And let him talk to us about the ego. important is it to go one way or the other? We don't really call it, we know that. But in your mind, you think about it, and you don't even realize you are dealing with something that was brought forth by Sigmund Freud. You don't think about that. There's a lot of people don't know Sigmund Freud, never heard of him. People in my household never heard of Sigmund Freud. My relatives, most of them, they probably took a course, maybe a psych course, and ran across this guy's name at some point in their lives, but it was over. So sociologists who study these theories and these frameworks that are presented by these people that the author presented to us will have us to give serious thought to our behavior more than a lot of other people. That could be bothersome, that could be a headache, and I know for me it's sometimes causing me to lose sleep about some things like that couple that got married. I told you about the relationship. Why did they get married? What were they thinking? They weren't concerned. They did it. I was the only one who lost sleep over that dream. I don't know if they said the other today or not. Competing forces. You author not just of this text, but I'm looking at another reading where there is a connection made between Sigmund Freud and some more specific components of our makeup. And I'm talking specifically about the self. The self in terms of self-concept that we have and self-identity. And there is a connection with what Sigmund Freud writes. And if you really want to look at things deeply, you will get to a point where you don't say this. Remember, we frame stuff in here sociologically, but when we're out there in the public or out there on the campus, running with our friends and stuff, we don't think about this course. We don't think about sociology. You don't think about none of this stuff. And you're surely not going to think about page 123 or 24, 22 of your textbook. It's not going to happen. But we go through these processes regardless of whether we know what we're doing, saying or not. But we do. We go through that. So I would have us to think about the self. I would have us to think about people's concept of your concept. There's a definition for self-concept. There's a definition, and you might see this again. You might see this again. Still working on exam number 2. But the reason I bring this up is because sometimes I wonder that people don't really think about what they do or how stuff looks, which brings to mind, well, maybe they don't think about it themselves. Maybe they think it's more important to just do stuff because the group is doing it. The group is doing it. Go to a football game. How do y'all been to a Marks football game? Raise your hand. Is it all? Team,
Great. Funny. No, he's on the team.
Okay.
He's
We do
the.
things every day. And I don't mind giving myself as an example. I was in a college game, to the homecoming. I'll never forget this for bad reason. And I decided to hang with the guy and pass the ball to a point where I couldn't tell you how I got back to my dormitory room. I do remember waking up the next morning in my bed alone. But there was puke all over the floor. My roommate standing over me said, he says, yesterday afternoon. And I'm glad that a lot of people didn't, but I don't know. I see a lot of people see the end result of that. But he's a mixed woman down 80. But I began to think about how that looked. What kind of picture does that place in people's minds of me? And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I bet you, somewhere over the last couple of years, somebody has had the thought of, I wonder how I look in other people's eyes. Maybe an adult, maybe an instructor, maybe a counselor. Did they see me? Or did my mom know that? Nobody home. Self-concept. We want to talk about self-identity. What defines self-concept? It is a totality of beliefs and feelings about ourselves. Self-concept. The totality of beliefs, views about ourselves. It's everything. It's everything. Wrapped up. It's not about the clothes you wear or how you put your hair fixed. Not about who you've seen, not about who you've been seen with, not about what about you have to say I'm in class and who knows about the fact that you flunked it, but you were instructed. It's not about any one of us. Your authors would say not just this author, all of them, you say, is a totality of a person. That a person sees within themselves. Sigmund Freud would move us forward from that, though. And we're going to get back to that framework thinking, but there is another thing that we are very conscious of, associated with self-concept. That's self-identity. One's identity. Yeah, we're talking about socialization. And someone, I hope, is not in this class, but someone outside of this class might raise the question of how is a discussion and the definition of self-concept, how is that related to a person's self-identity? A person's self-identity. Is there a relationship between one's self-concept of himself and one's self-identity? There it is. There's a definition of self-identity that you should have in your notes. The author was, I think, placed around the back somewhere. If you want, I'll give it to you. Self-identity. Our perception about what kind of a person we are largely, get this, largely based on what we get from our interactions with other people. Self-identity. Everybody in here has a self-identity. If I were to go around the room and ask you, now I just do what is your self-identity? Let's do that for a second. Now I like to go down the road because I don't think people are going to raise their hands and listen. You know, because you might say something that you might not want to do. But let's find out what somebody feels about their self-identity. You don't really think about it. Your self-identity. You gotta look the other way, right? Self-identity. That's important. We gave you the definition. It's what we think, or what you think take it. But no, since you raised your hand like you bold, you jumped out. What's your name? Nola what? Jones, Miss Jones. What's yourself? Who told you that? Is the other people really told you that? Miss Jones is good. She's good. You know, high five. She's good. You got her thing? All your people, all your folks, all your race. In Pittsburgh, we call relatives race, so sometimes I might say the race. So others have told you this. You've been traumatized. Why do they think you're good person?
Because, like, they told me, treat people, interact with people, how to talk to people, how to
You ever met anybody who you think did not have a good opinion of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for being true. I'm sure that you can discount it. It don't matter. Somebody else, give me your self-identity.
Stormy McNabb.
Stormy.
I feel like I'm a very hardworking and opinionated person. I've actually been told by a few people in high school, or more than a few, that I'm very loud. And sometimes the way they say it can actually be hurtful, but.
Okay, but you're being true. Yeah, I'm a loud person.
I think it's more as I'm very opinionated.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I was in Chicago 2 weekends ago, 3 weekends ago. We were sitting at the somewhere like a water club, which had a cousin and I were in Memphis, specifically. He took me up there for breakfast, late breakfast on Sunday morning. And we were just talking. And I got to talking about politics. And I don't even know how it came. I said some things that I really didn't want other people to hear. But I was on a roll talking about politics, stuff that I feel strongly about. But I keep those feelings to myself. And I didn't, this Sunday morning, no one else was in this room where they were serving the breakfast. At least not on the tables around me. But I didn't realize this older couple came and sat at the table adjacent, it was my back. I didn't know they were there, And my cousin kicked me, in the shins. And then he looked over and said, oh, okay. I can imagine that those people who were at that table over my shoulder to my left, I can imagine how they paint saying some of the things that I was saying. The good thing about that is that they're not part of my enemy. Right? They're not part of my primary, as we call it. They were actually people I didn't know, didn't care about. But even in situations like that, being the person that I am, I cared about how they felt. So I toned down. Matter of fact, I even changed the subject. Because I had to get off of that. Because there wasn't no way I could fix what I said. And I knew that. So I changed the subject. Something nice and easy and comfortable. Our self-identity is important. And people don't talk about their self-identity. Your feelings about yourself. And I appreciate that for being honest. And somebody else told me I was loud too. Here in Chattanooga. I blamed it on teaching. Because I've taught double sections for a while. Which means that if I'm in an auditorium, I really want to be heard. So my volume level is often high. So I've heard that from relatives when they come to my house. and sitting around just talking, you know. Use your inside voice. Did I ever tell you that? Use your inside voice. What the hell is this? Like I'm I had to check this out. Somebody else. What do you think what do you say your Southern ideas? Okay. Name? Viviana, right. What's your last name?
Perez.
Right, Perez, come on.
People have told me that I'm very shy, and I also heard that people have told me that I'm scary because of that.
Because you might do anything. Lock the doors. I'm just. The funny thing about that, this is just an aside. I was teaching a college class at Brandon High School. How many of y'all know where Brandon High School is in Chattanooga? You know? You in Chattanooga? Yes, sir. Well, you know where Brandon High School is, right? I mean, it's not a bad school. I know a lot of people who graduated from there years ago, right? Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Brandon's a little rough now.
A little bit, but not, they weren't rough. They were nice people.
Oh, your friends?
Yeah.
Of course, they're friends with you. Huh?
Yeah, no.
Oh, you know about Brandon High School?
Of course.
Did you graduate from there?
No, I know people come there.
Oh, you do?
I'm happy with them.
Okay, all right. Okay. I was there at 8:30 this morning, and there was stuff going on in the hallways of Brandon High, right? And I wasn't thinking about it, right? Someone knocked on the door while all this noise was going on out there in the hallway. I was gonna go and open it, and I had a student sitting there in my class, got a small class, dual enrollment, DE students, dual enrollment students who were taking a college class in high school. And this guy said, "Don't open the door." I said, "Why?" Don't do it. You know, your doors are locked in high school, which is a good thing. You know? Your doors are locked, right? But all this noise was going on out in the hallway. I wanted to know what was going on. You know? But I did not open the door. And then a few minutes later, I heard over the intercom, well, that you hear this all over the school, sure. Lock your doors. All teachers, lock your doors. Should be no students in the hallways. Clear the hallways. Then I heard people running and stuff. And I thought those were real scary moments. I'm so glad I did not go through. I don't know how I did this. How do you? Okay. You're not a scary person. I don't believe that. Do you believe so? Okay. You don't want to be. You don't want people to ID you being a scary person. Maybe a quiet person. Right? Nice, quiet person. Right? Okay. All right. Can you believe that? That's your self-ID. Somebody else. Oh. Hurry on real quick. I gotta get this off my chest. Come on. Give me a name. Savannah what? Nippy. Yeah, that's K-E-N-I, right? Yeah, great.
I'm also really loud and talkative and open.
It looks like the three of us got something going on here, right? And opinionated?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. And you okay with that ID?
Sure, I guess.
Yeah, don't guess, you gotta know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're not sure, then you'll be thinking about, I need to change my ID. I'm not comfortable with it, I'm not happy with it. My self-concept of myself, which leads to one's self-identity, is something that we have to deal with. Because if we don't want to be seen a certain way, then we need to work on changing, right? The thing about that is that it didn't take you long to get where you are. It didn't take me long either. I mean, it took me a long time. So, but it'll take you a long time. If you really like, hell, I don't want to change. I'm down the road. I am not changing who I am. I've told you that this week. Get used to it. Just when you see what you get, what you hear, Somebody else with self-ID. Oh, yes, ma'am. Healy, H-E-A-L-Y, Healy, come on, Healy.
Why you doing? I don't know.
I was going to do, you okay with that? Oh, yeah. All right, so we know she's outgoing. This is me. And I'm not changing, right? Want to be a friend of mine? This is who you're going to get a friend with. This is my idea. Everybody, name? Asia? Deja, what's that name? Roberts, Deja Roberts has something to say. Get it off of you. Okay, come on, you listen.
I've heard that I'm wrongfully and I'm wealthy and I'm gonna, I love it,
Really good, you'll give us some makeup and all the 6 inch letters and all this, you know, and this is the girly girl right here. I mean, if people paint you that way, that's not a bad thing to be, right? It's not bad. And that's the thing about one's self-ID. When we talk about the real people that we are, you know, we don't tell the people that we meet for the first time these things, or maybe some of you do, I don't know. They'll find out soon enough how you really are and what you think about yourself by how you act. But your interactions with other people, you know, will help you to understand more about yourself. And that's with all of us, right? And we're not spring chickens. We've been through elementary, middle school, but high school, and some of you all are upperclassmen, some of you just got here. But you are representing yourself when you're here, whether you want to or not. Yes. No. That's okay, Floyd. Hold on.
I thought you was pointing at me.
Yeah, I was doing this, trying to get over, but you know, you'll be right. Okay, go ahead.
What? I did right there.
Cameron Brownfield.
I've heard kind of some contradicting things. I've heard from a select few people that I'm loud, which occasionally, but from pretty much everybody else, and I agree with it, I get told I'm a grandma because I don't really go out a lot. So.
It's okay. It's okay. There's nothing bad with that, right? You're settled within yourself. You'll find that it doesn't matter what anybody else feels. I mean, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. One more. Flood, come on.
People say I'm very humble and hardworking. I'll say.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been through a lot. It's how I got here.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a walk-on here and play football, so come out of high school, had D1 scholarship. They got taken away.
Oh, wow.
So I had to go to NIA school and work my way up to get here.
Okay.
So it took a lot of hard work and effort, time nights, long nights. So, so.
Serious worker, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what do you play?
Football, safety.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. You must have I'm not taking this for granted, a pretty good idea of yourself. You seem like you say you don't do a lot. And you feel good about yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm very confident. I know how much work I put in.
All right.
So,
That's good.
and gotta keep God first.
That's good. That's good. Everyone should have a feeling about themselves. I was thinking about that when I was reading this chapter a couple of times.
Right.
And maybe some notes about the theorists who are presented. There's a lot to be said about sociology, but about these theorists, what they present. See, getting into people's minds and stuff. Helping people get into their own minds is important. As sociologists study us as a people. I want to move it on. I've got to talk about a couple of people because all of this stuff is related. I want to say a word about, and now I hate to say this now. We're gonna get out a little bit early today, everybody. All right? Huh?
You said nothing but the word.
If you don't like it,
Good.
stay. But I want to say a few other things about another theorist that your author presents to us in this chapter. And some of the things that he covers are so much related to our discussion about self-identity. Your author speaks to us about a gentleman whose name is George Herbert Mead. And there are a few things that we got to remember about George Herbert. Remember, I was saying that there should be something that you can say about each one of these theories. You don't have to get deep and dirty. Let me give you an example. Erickson. Erik Erikson, a noted theorist who presents a lot of good stuff about personality development. You know. But the thing about Erikson is that you really got to get deep in him if you really want to understand him. If you look at what he presents, your author presents about Erik Erikson in the chapter, he presents 8 stages of development, right? 8 stages. You want to have to remember them. I'll tell you that now. But what you ought to be able to do is say, well, when it comes to Erik Erikson, his approach was all about how people's personality develops. But he says that personality develops in stages from the beginning. Anybody have a relative who you remember being a little toddler and does certain things, always into something, and a lot of people will make conclusions about this little guy or this little girl right here. Well, it's going to be hard to manage. You know? And people will treat that child that way and talk to that child that way because you don't go over there, you know you get in there and you feed information to people and they begin to believe it, they internalize it. And Erik Erikson would say that at every stage of the way, all 8 of those stages, is an opportunity for your personality to be further developed. The interesting thing about what Erik Erikson says is that you could take a string and connect each of those stages, beginning to the very end, old age, and people don't change. That's what Erikson is saying. But we're not talking about Erikson. I want to talk to us about George Herbert Mead. George Herbert Mead. George Herbert Mead did this in your notes. He's a social behaviorist, if you will. He focused on the theory of the social self. All this stuff is connected. He focused on, and this is the thing about all you should be able to say a sentence about each person. Just a sentence. What was their focus? You know? And there is a multiple choice question on this next exam that makes a statement, and then it says, which theorist does this statement conform with relative to that theorist's perspective? And if you don't know anything about any of them, then you're going to have to just pick a number, right? A, B, C, and D, right? But if you know a word or two about a sentence, if you know a category that you place these people in, then that's good enough. George Herbert Mead, he's acting like he got his info, got his story with studying Sigmund Freud. I don't know if that's true. But some of the things that he made reference to, he talks about the self. But he makes a profound analogy, George Herbert Mead. Matter of fact, I say that he stole some information from Sigmund Freud. But more than that, he got information from Charles Cooney, another theorist who's not referenced in terms of the 6 people. He's not listed like that. But I'm giving you the information about Charles Cooney. George Herbert Mead made some astounding connections, I'm just saying that, with the work of Charles Cooney. Charles Cooney, by the way, was the theorist who introduced to us the looking glass self. You need to remember that. The looking glass self. Charles Cooney. Yes, ma'am. C-O-O-L-E-Y. Cooley. Charles Cooley. The Looking Glass. Has anyone ever heard of the Looking Glass Chef? Okay, talk to me. Thompson, right?
Yes.
Okay, come on. You sure it wasn't Johnson?
No, I'm Thompson.
Thompson, okay, all right. Good.
So looking at self is how we perceive ourselves based off of how we think others are perceiving us.
Exactly, exactly. She got it. It's important for us to know who he is, how other people see us, and we take that and we accept that. We accept it. We accept it. My little niece, I'm talking about the one that got kicked out of East Ridge High School, I'm talking about the one who stole marijuana from her mama's apartment and got arrested, put in juvenile for 10 days. I'm talking about that one. And it took me a while, and the sociologist in me, I had a hard time understanding. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I had. And I was thinking about how am I going to help this girl. And I finally broke through, but it didn't mean it. Because when she got out of juvenile, her mother brought her to my house. Why? Because the police officers took her 2 cell phones, gave them to her mother. Her mother gave them to me. So when she got out of juvenile, she wanted her cell phones. The same instruments, the same tools that she used to sell drugs in the middle of the night from her mama's house at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't going to give them back. But this girl broke down and cried in my house with some relatives sitting in that room. And I'm trying to, what is wrong? Why are you doing this? I'll take this. I'm scared. But why are you doing this? And I said some things that made her feel pretty bad, and she broke down. She cried. She broke down. You know what she says to everybody? Crying and all. She did all of this to me to get attention. No one paid her any attention. She would do these things, and I later found out that she'd done some things trying to get into a new game. Got hurt in the process when you get through all of that. People trying to get along. And I wanted to ask, well, how do you feel about yourself now? What are people thinking about you? I can tell you now what the teacher that East Ridge thinking about you. They think you're the class clown. And so you can internalize that. And so that's how you act. Talk back to the teachers, you talk back to the principal, you talk back to the police officers who came to the restaurant. I heard it all. Her self-concept of herself was formed. Her ID was formed. I asked the question to myself, where the hell is she getting this from? I mean, who is she around that she's, where is it coming from? I figured that out too. So she rides the bus to school every morning, was riding the bus every morning. Mother could have taken her to school. Mother was lazy. Ride the bus. And when that young lady go up riding the bus, her whole world changed. I'm not saying that riding the bus is bad. Some of us have ridden the bus to school and got home. I'm not saying that. But for her, she was around people who were her associates, her colleagues, her best friends. George Herbert Mead would say that her personality was going to be changed from her middle school when she was selected to be on the radio every week, giving an update on what the good things are going on in East Ridge High School and middle school. And that went to being a third, about 11th grade. Getting kicked out of school every semester from 11th grade past the first semester, from the 10th grade, 11th grade, past the first semester of her senior year. In fact, she didn't graduate. Family had to find an online program for her, right? To graduate. Nothing wrong with online programs, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at what led her to get to that point. And some people are not bad because they finished high school through an online program. I'm talking about my niece and her situation. We all don't know that. If we knew it, I wouldn't be saying it. But I'm making a point. There is a relationship to all this stuff about sociology we're talking about. It's real life. We're just putting it in a sociological frame of reference. We talk about feelings and theories. And we talk about the development of the person that we study in sociology. So, George Herbert Mead took the work of Charles Cooley and talking about the looking glass self. And he just went further with this. He went on, if you will, to make assertions about people and how they develop themselves based on how other people saw them. And that's a good thing, perhaps. Where you're getting your information and your association is with good people. But sometimes it's not the case. It's not the case. So we see ourselves through the lenses of other people. And as Herbert Mead said, those 5 stages of the self, the birth, development of the birth, self, social, importance of social experience, and we all make that. Individuals seek meanings for things that they encounter or they see based upon their social approach. All connected. The author, not our author, but other authors, in this vein, talk about the importance of significant other. Another term that we'll see again. Significant other. What do we mean by, somebody take a guess. What do we mean, what's your interpretation of this term, this concept? Significant others. Significant others. Significant others. Name? Come on.
I think a lot of times I associate it with like, you're like,
Okay, all right, she says it's like it's working with your girlfriend.
That's important to me.
That's somebody who's important to you, right? Anybody else want to have Rob? Yes, ma'am.
Adrian Shirley.
Adrian Shirley.
It's like somebody that you have like a relationship with, that you value that relationship so much that you die.
People around us who are close to us, right? Who know us and we know them, right? They're the people that you communicate with most, the significant others. They are the people that what you do means something. The significant other, right? It may be your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance. These are people that you go through your days hoping that you please these people. That you don't screw around, mess up, and then they find out about it. You don't want that. So the ego jumps in there and balances all that out. Helps you to make the right decision. Sometimes you don't listen to people because you want to do something so bad. I gotta be with. They're gonna do it. They're going out. I got to go too. That's my news. I gotta go because that's what they. I got to do this. No, you don't. A weak personality yields attention, approval are very important to us, whose approval is critical to the development of the self. Those people help to mold us and make us. And it is those people whose view of us is important. We make sure that we're seen in the best light we want to anyway. If they find out something that's adverse about us, then we try to make sure that was just temporary. I won't do that with people, so they don't get a bad impression. We do things often so that we can be in the good graces of significant others. George Herbert Mead. What people think of us is what they seek in us is what we want to be. In closing for the day, I want to make reference to something that we in the textbook. It's an easy question. Somebody get this one on the exam. You knock this question out of the park because agents of socialization. The authors talk about agents of socialization. Agents of socialization. Can someone give me the name of an agent of socialization? Family. Family. The most important primary group that most of us have. That's not to say that some always have issues with some of our family members. And that's all we want, unfortunately. Somebody else, give me, yes.
Schools.
Schools. Schools represent an agent of socialization, absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody else, come on. Peer group, absolutely. Peer group, yes. Occupation, good job. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, in the very back.
Religion.
Do it again?
Religion.
Religion. All right, what's your name?
Rachel Monero.
I'm sorry?
Rachel Monero.
Monero, okay, very good. Hadn't heard from you. Thank you, very good. Yes, ma'am.
Social media.
Social media, what's your name? What have they branded you with? Labeled you, your name.
Oh, Jordan Tucker.
You do know that's a label, don't you? Yeah, we all got it, all right? Yes, ma'am. But our interest group is not always a close group, right? I mean, if you like photography, and I went to join the photography club, learn how to take good pictures and all that, right? People have the same interest, right? But they might not be part of the primary. Depends on how close you get to some of the interests you have. Anybody else? We close it out. All right, good man. Matthew, what's your name? Ellie Herman. Yes. All right, good. One more back to the back. Young lady who says that they think I'm a grandma. I challenge them. Go ahead.
Would role models work?
The what?
Would role models work?
Role models. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The role models. A lot of our role models get on